Hello, everyone. Here's your weather hazard briefing for central and eastern Idaho. These gusty winds, they are again out there today. They're going to be strong for today. Now, they'll be around all the way into the weekend, a little bit lower overall each day, but the potential is still there for some gusty winds. It looks like maybe by the weekend, anything across the Snake Plain really is right along the Arco Desert there and then on up into the central mountains. There will still be a few storms across the area, mainly over the highlands. We have a little bit of activity out there already for today. Next week, the pattern changes. The ridge nudges its way back towards Idaho. That allows the wind to let up. However, the better monsoon moisture returns, and by the middle of next week, we do have a chance of showers and thunderstorms returning. It will be one of these situations. The initial strong surge of monsoon moisture will still be producing storms that don't have a lot of rain, but as we head into the middle of next week, that potential of rainfall will be on the increase. Satellite this morning already shows one little surge of monsoon moisture working through. We haven't seen a lot of rain with that, but have seen a few lightning strikes. That trend continues into this afternoon across the area. We'll talk about that a little bit more in just a moment. But any little push of monsoon moisture might have a little bit of potential for thunderstorm activity. That is until we get this better moisture off for our south and to the east into our area. The weather risk outlook, you'll notice we continue with breezy to windy conditions, especially through tomorrow. The winds, like I said, let up over the weekend, but we're still going to look at some major impacts fire weather-wise in some areas where we have our critical fuels. And for today, that's across the Arco Desert towards the Shoshone lava beds. Also, we're including areas down around City of Rocks, Oakley, over towards Jackpot, the lower elevations there with the strong wind and low humidity. Also, from Chalice north into Limhi County, we continue with critical fire conditions. Trends for tomorrow, similar, although a little bit lighter wind in a lot of areas. We still are looking at critical conditions across portions of the Snake Plain. It looks like across the South Hills that potential is high, not as high as today, but is still there. And also, again, Chalice up towards through Limhi County. And we lose the potential of thunderstorms. And I'll show you in a minute, it's not particularly gone all the way. Monday is when the initial monsoon push makes it into the southeast corner. Actually, for Monday, some folks, just a little bit of wind out there. Nothing too terribly impactful fire weather-wise across the area, at least for Monday. So, taking a look at how things are going to progress through the rest of today, we've already had some sprinkles, a little bit of virga, a few lightning strikes. Most of this will be generally south and east of a line from around Ledor back down towards Sun Valley. We might still see a few sprinkles, a few cells trying to develop up Stanley up towards Salmon and to the west, but the bulk of it will be south across the southeast part of the Central Mountains into the Snake Plain and also down towards the southeast corner. This surge moves to the east, and the models may be getting a little too happy with stuff developing east of Rexburg and IF, but there might be a few light showers or sprinkles there for later on this morning. As we go into this afternoon, you'll notice we watch redevelopment over the Central Mountains, especially from Chalice back down to north of Howe up into the Limhi County area, also up into southwest Montana. And a few thunderstorms trying to develop across the South Hills into the southeast highlands up towards Driggs, especially right along the bench areas into late this afternoon and this evening. That round of storms moves on out. We don't have much going overnight, but again, any little push of monsoon moisture, just like today, we might get some virga or sprinkles out of it. Going into tomorrow, a little bit of moisture moving into Limhi County early in the day, also around Bear Lake. And by tomorrow afternoon, the really only area we're expecting a few thunderstorms again up towards Chalice, up towards Limhi County into portions of southern and southwestern Montana during the afternoon and evening hours. And the storms today and tomorrow, we're still not expecting a lot of rain. And the potential seeing over 1/10 of an inch is 10 to 20%, and 20% is probably stretching it for our forecast the next few days. So for this afternoon, we've got the low humidity in place. Some higher humidities down across the southeast corner again this afternoon. Those wind gusts down across the South Hills, down towards Jackpot, we're seeing those gusts 35 to 40, a few spots above 40 miles an hour, especially once you get into the higher elevations. And, of course, the stronger winds across a good chunk of the Magic Valley into the Arco Desert up towards Du Bois, up towards the Montana border and back into the Central Mountains. The strongest winds today will probably be mid-afternoon to just right around 6 o'clock-ish this afternoon. And some of those gusts in those areas, 35 to 50 miles per hour. Don't be surprised if we see a few locally higher gusts across the Arco Desert on up into the highest elevations, the Lost River Range, also heading up into Limhi County as well. And those gusts, they really cut off after we get the sun to go down for this evening. Afternoon humidity tomorrow does drop in a few spots. It'll be a little less breezy tomorrow. Still some gusts, 25, 30, 35 miles an hour in a few spots, especially the higher elevations of the Central Mountains down in the South Hills and the Albion Mountains. Also, again, across the Arco Desert up towards Du Bois for the late afternoon and early evening hours. For Saturday, the air continues to dry out a little bit more. We've been talking about this monsoon moisture. That's all well above the surface. This is surface humidity, so if we get any of those storms to develop, it's not going to produce hardly any rain, just some sprinkles or virga. You see the winds do pick up again Saturday afternoon and evening, especially from the Arco Desert and the lava beds into the Central Mountains. Some of those gusts over 35 miles per hour, maybe even above 40 miles an hour in a few spots. Again, the same time frame every day that we've seen for the past few days for those stronger wind gusts. Sunday, drier, winds back off a little bit more on Sunday, but still some gusts 25 to 35 miles an hour. And going into Monday, you'll notice that humidity crops up and picks up in the southeast corner. That's that first initial wave of monsoon moisture moving in. And again, not a lot of wind. Still up across the north, there's some gusts over 25 miles per hour. So one last thing that we want to look at, sometimes we talk about the potential of showers and thunderstorms. And there actually can be different percentages for the chance of rain versus the chance of thunderstorms. So we're going to move this to Saturday afternoon. This is the potential of thunderstorms, not rain. We're not expecting rain. This is just the potential of thunderstorms. You notice not a lot of chance there. Some of these percentages under 10% until you get down Bear Lake, east of Soda Springs, up along the Wyoming border, along the Montana border, and up toward north of Salmon. Those thunderstorm percentages, they're not zero, but they're not necessarily very high enough to register on our forecast. A lot of times when you see our forecast, we don't put anything in there until it gets to about 15% or higher. But we're still talking in these areas 10 to 15% chances of seeing a thunderstorm developing on Saturday. We'll go now ahead till Sunday afternoon. You notice it's very similar. Same areas seeing about a 10 to 15% chance of thunderstorms, under 10% across the rest of central and eastern Idaho. The higher chances along and east of the divide. Now we'll go into Monday, and you'll notice that chance of thunderstorms increasing across the southeast corner. Those thunderstorm chances up around 20%, and they gradually get higher and shift more over our area, more widespread over our area, headed towards the middle part of next week. So kind of a little bit of a weather lesson there for you this morning. So again, some pretty good winds across the area again today. Those winds will be lighter starting tomorrow and through the weekend, but they'll still be there and in the same spots, lending itself to some critical fire weather conditions across portions of central and eastern Idaho. We're not getting rid of any thunderstorm potential. As a matter of fact, it's still non-zero, and it gets better next week when the monsoon push arrives in our area. Have a great Thursday, and please stay safe out there, everyone.